So,
You guys ready?
yeah, maybe,
All right. Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. My name is Diallo, and today it's Monday, November 30th. I almost forgot what day it was. Monday, November 30th of 2020. How about them apples, huh? Tomorrow starts what's tomorrow? Today's November 30th. What's tomorrow?
the first, December.
December 1st, right?
November.
So it's December 1st, so they have 25 days of Christmas. Anybody remember giving the kids a little calendar thing with the 25 days of Christmas? And every day they would open it up and there'd be a little piece of candy in there or a piece of coal, one of the two.
I don't remember that.
Crazy, huh?
In school.
Mm-hmm. So again, it's Friday, November. This is from Friday. That's the worst. Again, it's Monday, November 30th. Like I said, November 30th, tomorrow's the 1st of December. So we're going to go through the East Bay Times here that we have and look at some of the news from the weekend. Let's see here. Some interesting news. So how about this? District gives distant learning a low grade. So because of the pandemic and the virus, like 99% of kids are doing schoolwork from home on the computer, which I found out isn't working that well. Especially for kids elementary school, it doesn't work for them very well. Because they need to be in school with other kids to be able to learn just how to be a human being in our society.
Right.
So it says distant learning, despite teachers' best efforts, is driving students off the cliff. And each Contra Costa County School Board trustee concluded after seeing the last batch of report cards. Eric Stoneberger, a Liberty Union High School District board member and father of 4, has his doubts about distance learning from the onset. And after first quarter grades came out, he was sure more than 27% of students in the district, which included Heritage High School, Liberty High School, Freedom, La Palma, and Independence High Schools, had at least one F. So 27% of students in 5 high schools had at least one F. That's a lot. And I bet you it was in PE. We'll see. This is the first real data we've seen, Stoneberger said. Teachers are trying their best, but on the screen, they can't build that relationship. They can't give them that human connection online. After hearing anecdotal information early this fall, Liberty trustees asked the superintendent for an update on grades. The report, which just came out and was discussed at last week's board meeting, was reviewed in a letter sent to parents late last week. We are starting to see the performance standpoint of those risks of distant learning, and we know what happens when a kid doesn't get a high school diploma, Stoneberger said. We know what happens when they don't go to a secondary school. Their quality of life, their earning potential, the years on their life for the balance of their life are all reduced. Liberty Union High School District is not alone. Districts across the East Bay have had reported spikes in the number of failing grades during the first quarter, which saw most students learning online at home. Nearby Mount Diablo Unified School District, high school students were failing more than one grade at a rate of 33.6%, up from 19% the previous 2 years. So it's gone up a whole almost 15% in 2 years. Wow, like kids are failing. The Liberty Union High School District report showed 1,085 students, or at least 13.9%, had GPAs lower than 1.0, up from 4.3% or 340 students in 2009.
True.
So it almost quadrupled since last year, the number of students that have less than a 1.0.
Jesus,
That means they have all D's and F's.
that's true.
Man. And for the,
So what you think happened there? Where they
let's find out.
went down?
Let's find out what maybe they have a solution. And 2,155 students, or 27% of the population, had GPAs below 2.0 compared with 14% in 2019 as well. Man, that is not looking good for online learning, huh? If 28% of the kids in our district aren't going to succeed to get a 2.0 GPA, that the achievement gap that is going to explode is astronomical, Stoneberger said. Why aren't we having that conversation? Why aren't we at least giving equal time to the damage that we know is going to be done to these kids for the choices we are making on the pandemic? So we have a good conversation about the whole child's health, not just one element of it, which is true, right? I'm saying just students shouldn't come to school because if they go to school, then they're gonna die.
Oh my God.
Right? They're saying, oh, if they come to school, they're gonna spread disease and everybody's gonna die. When the statistics don't say that. The statistics say, all the statistics we have so far say that school should be open. But, you know, people have their own stuff people in charge of their own thing.
Yeah.
Though Superintendent Eric Volta said he wasn't surprised about the dip in grades, they are not an indictment on our teaching or our plan, he added. That in many cases, the grades reflected students not turning in assignments, either because they did not understand how, or had forgotten, and no teacher was physically there to remind them. Well, okay. The one thing that those numbers show is that our students were not as engaged as they need to be. Let's face it, kids are home in their room, and it's just them and their devices, their laptops, their iPads. Some are definitely engaged in the class, and others, you're not too sure if they're engaged, he said. If you look at it from the previous quarter, it's a huge difference. Same teachers, same curriculum, just everything. With distance learning, they are struggling, but this is happening all over the state. Our fail rates are higher, but this is the same group of teachers, Volta added. I think our teachers have been outstanding in doing this. Teachers have had to adapt to a new way of doing school. Volta also noted the grades are 6 weeks old, and he anticipates they will improve in the second quarter after a rough start with a whole new learning platform and technological hiccups, and most students are now adapting. I don't think there's going to be a huge increase. Especially during the wintertime when it's cold and kids aren't going to want to get out of bed. They're like, yeah, I'm not getting out of bed. That's interesting, huh? With kids like that. Mm. What's up? Okay. Just go out that door right there. Yep.
You don't know where the bathroom is?
It's
I'll
okay.
tell you.
Hey, Audrey,
Hmm?
it's okay. Can we
You can go.
Yeah, she's okay. Yeah, thank you, Audrey.
Oh, shoot.
All right. Here's one. Town caught between rocks and coronavirus. So they're stuck between rocks and the coronavirus. I wonder what that means.
Of course.
On the wild and remote east flanks of the Sierra Nevadas, hundreds of holiday visitors are flocking to climb the legendary rocks outside the tiny town of Bishop, in an annual pilgrimage as traditional as Turkey. But this year, the locals wish they'd go away. Please come back later. It would be a lot better for everyone, said Townie Thompson, Executive Director of the Bishop Area Chamber of Commerce and Visitors Bureau. While the town is fiercely dependent on tourism, officials say, that's 8. I need to go to 6. Oh my goodness. Papers are so hard to turn now. They're not as thick as they used to be back in the day. There we go. California's current surge of COVID-19 cases quickly could overwhelm the region's 25-bed district hospital, the only acute care for 42 miles in one direction and 58 miles in the other. Isolated in the lonely, windswept Owens Valley, the region has until recently been spared the fate of California's large and more crowded cities. Only 282 coronavirus cases and 16 deaths have been reported among the 18,000 residents of a 10,000 square mile Inyo County, an area double the size of Connecticut. But 25 new cases have appeared in just the past 2 weeks, and health officials fear the traditional Thanksgiving swell of climbers could spread the virus, especially threatening Bishop's large community of elderly retirees. Another concern, far-flung rural residents can't easily access testing. It looks like we're headed right for that spike that they told us about, said Thompson. The pandemic is casting a deep shadow over the beloved climbing mecca, famed for its cobalt blue skies, mountain vistas, and welcoming vibe. At the most popular bouldering sites, the number of parked cars jumped from around 15 on weekdays to 200 on holiday weekends, according to the Bishop Area Climbers Coalition. If each car holds 2 or 3 people, that could deliver 500 or more visitors a day to a town of 4,000. Its wide open spaces and world-class geology beckon athletes from all over the West, frustrated by long months at home. The massive egg-shaped boulder of the Tablelands area reward flexibility and strong fingers. The crags of the Buttermilks demand technical skills and hard calluses. The near vertical walls of Owens River Gorge call for laser-like focus. So how about that? At town of 4,000, and they're expecting over a holiday weekend they can get just as many visitors coming in. So they're all scared because they don't want the virus to come to their place because it's mostly elderly retirees. That's crazy, huh? Did you hear that the 49ers can't play at their home stadium from here on out? Yeah. Because Santa Clara County said that the 49ers can't have any games there because of the COVID virus. Now the 49ers have to figure out where they're going to play their home games.
Wow.
Which is going to be funny if they end up playing in Las Vegas. With the Raiders. It's going to be hilarious. So I guarantee that's going to happen. They're going to end up playing in Las Vegas.
They're going to enjoy that.
No, they're going to have to stay in their room the whole time because they got to quarantine the whole time.
That's right, they quarantine.
Yeah, they can't go out. They can't go out and party.
Don't tell me.
But that'd be the cheapest place they can go.
They can walk, they gonna do it. Yeah, they have to call it at home, they gonna do it.
All right. So here's what I didn't hear about. Police responses to the mentally ill dangerously wrong. So a tragic and fatal scenario last month in Philadelphia has been repeated around the country for many years. An acutely mentally ill individual has a knife. Officers tell him to drop it. He doesn't. He is shot and killed. It happens far more frequently than any other police fatality shooting situation. Setting aside the question of the mental health treatment in the community, most of the shooting deaths of mentally ill individuals are unnecessary, and should have been prevented. I said most rather than all, purposely. If instead of holding a knife, a person raises a gun toward the officer or runs toward the officer holding a butcher's knife overhead, the shooting is justified and may have been unavoidable. These situations, however, are the exception. The Philadelphia scenario, which led to the death of 27-year-old Walter Wallace Jr., is far more common. Why do police so often resort to lethal force in such situations, and why are they so seldom held accountable? A major reason is terrible police training on this issue. Here is the big lie. At a distance of 25 feet, a person with an edged weapon, knife or similar, can charge you, and even though you are able to hit him 1 or 2 fatal shots, he will still be able to reach you and perhaps kill you. You must consider any person within 25 feet of you with an edged weapon as constituting an immediate threat or loss of life, justifying the use of lethal force. That sort of message has commonly been taught to new police officers and then reinforced by in-service training. That scenario is conceivable, but is not realistic. Let's look at the reality. In the 11 years prior to 2001, FBI statistics indicated a total of 1,671 law enforcement on-duty deaths. Stabbing deaths involved mentally ill individuals, 0. To be clear, in those 11 years, there were no police deaths from edged weapons and standoffs with mentally ill individuals. These data suggest that most police tactics and interactions with armed individuals who are mentally ill make no sense. Any police department can dramatically reduce the chances of fatalities in encounters with mentally ill individuals. First, all police should receive serious and thoughtful training on this topic. Police should require a de-escalation techniques and other crisis intervention procedures, time and circumstances allowing, and hold officers accountable when those methods could have been used and were not. Hey, Lily, your seat's right there.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Yes.
Second, departments should require officers to use immediate force, to use intermediate force options rather than lethal where possible. The larger dispenser of pepper spray are often effective up to 25 feet. Tasers are controversial, but if the alternative is firearms, a taser is clearly preferable. The pepper ball system, which shoots plastic projectiles the size of small marbles, is third alternative. Other possibilities are a launcher, which fires projectiles containing small bean bags that can knock someone down, or hard rubber or wood pellets fired into the ground and ricocheting, taking a person down. Washington Post data from 2015 to 2019 show 1,216 mentally ill people shot and killed by police on a current average of 4 to 5 fatal shootings per week. Generally, intermediate force options have not been used. The most obvious alternative to sending police to respond to a call by a mentally ill person is to send a trained civilian. Perhaps some combination of social workers, psychologists, medics, or other crisis workers, or a police-civilian combination. Some of these alternatives have demonstrated dramatic reductions in injuries and deaths of the mentally ill without any associated rate from the responders. Individuals cannot choose to stop being mentally ill, but we can choose to stop killing them.
Right.
That's a good article.
That's really right.
Yeah,
Killing mentally ill people.
I know, huh?
I think the police just be scared. Shoot them, you know.
Well, that's what it is. It's they having scared because you don't know what the person's going to do, but you signed up for that job.
Yeah, that don't give you the right to kill.
Mm-hmm.
No way.
All right, so let's look at some opinions, letters to the editor. I like these. So the first one, letters to the editor. Stay-at-home orders essential to stop surge. Shelter order needed to stop spread of virus from November 24th. The horrifying number of Americans that have died from COVID-19 is nearly impossible to fathom, and in the face of such tragedy, many of us feel numb and helpless. But we need to remember that we have the power to save lives. Mask wearing, social distancing, and staying home are all safety measures we can and must follow as California rolls back its reopening. At the end of the day, the number one priority for governments, businesses, and general public should be to save as many lives as possible. I agree with the editorial board's call for a Bay Area stay-at-home order, and I hope our local leaders take action soon. That's from Claudia Deeg from Albany. So what do you think of that? Shut down everything or keep everything open? What do you think?
If you shut down everything, people gonna go crazy. Gonna do some craziest things that, trying to get back.
Like what happened this summer.
That's right.
Here's another one about our governor, Gavin Newsom, here in California. Newsom, an example of Democrats' flaws. Forget shame on you, Governor Newsom. It really is shame on us, the voters. Too many California voters mindlessly vote for a Democrat, believing that all Democratic candidates are hardworking class people. Take a look at the people around the governor. Do you see yourself or your friends in that picture? Or at the French Laundry? Because they caught our governor at the French Laundry eating dinner with a bunch of random people, and they were all really close together inside. And he's telling everybody in California, don't gather with large groups of people, all this stuff, wear masks when you're eating, and he's doing exactly the opposite of what he says.
That's right.
Right? Do as I say, not as I do. Meanwhile, our schools continue to underperform, and undeserved, our roads get worse, and the quality of life for middle to lower income families erode. Don't blame Newsom. He's only doing what you entitled him to do, and he does believe he's entitled. Maybe it is time you realize that the Democratic Party is not your friend. Stop voting for its candidates. Send them a message. That's Ray Fortnoy from Danville. So he says, screw them all, right? Interesting, right? So let's see here. What else do we got? What else do we got? Let's see. Here we go. Trump takes another step closer to conceding the election. Because he says that the election was rigged. He says he won. He says he won.
He too much. Yeah,
I won, even though clearly he did not. 10 million votes were fraud. That's what he says.
Yeah. He's the big fraud.
It'd be a couple thousand, but not 10 million. Not 10 million.
Come on. You gotta be kidding.
President Trump said on Thursday he will leave the White House if the Electoral College votes for President-elect Joe Biden, the closest he has come to conceding the November 3rd election, even as he repeated his unfounded claims at massive voter fraud. Speaking to reporters on Thanksgiving holiday, on the Thanksgiving holiday, Republican Trump said if Democrat Biden, who is due to be sworn in January 20th, is certified the election winner by the Electoral College, he will depart the White House. But Trump said it would be hard for him to concede under the current circumstances and declined to say whether he would attend Biden's inauguration. This election was a fraud, Trump insisted on in a sometimes rambling discourse at the White House, while continuing to offer no concrete evidence of widespread voting irregularities. Biden won the election with 306 Electoral College votes, more than the 270 required, to Trump's 232. And the electors are scheduled to meet on December 14th to formalize the outcome. Biden also leads by more than 6 million in the popular vote tally. Trump has so far refused to fully acknowledge his defeat. Though last week, with mounting pressure from his own Republican ranks, he agreed to let Biden's transition process officially proceed. Asked if he would leave the White House if the Electoral College votes for Biden, Trump said, certainly I will, and you know that. But I think there will be a lot of things happening between now and the 20th of January. A lot of things, he said. Massive fraud has been found. We're like a third world country. Desperate efforts by Trump and his aides to overturn results in key states, either by lawsuit or by pressuring state legislators, have failed, and he is running out of options. In the US, a candidate becomes president by securing the most electoral votes rather than by winning the majority of the national popular vote. Electors allotted to the 50 states and the District of Columbia, largely based on their population, are party loyalists who pledge to support the candidate who won the popular vote in their state. Biden and Trump both stayed close to homes to celebrate Thanksgiving on Thursday as the coronavirus pandemic raged across the country. Biden spent the holiday in the small seaside town of Rehoboth, Delaware, where he and his wife, Jill, have a vacation home. Trump often likes to celebrate holidays at his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida, but on Thursday he remained in the Washington area, spending part of the morning at his Trump National Golf Club in Virginia, where he played a round of golf. Well, I guarantee you they had a bunch of people who had got their golf scheduled for that day. They couldn't play because the president was there.
Yeah.
They were so pissed. I got to spend $300 on this round and I can't even golf because the president's here. I think it's got his name on it. I think it's got his name on it though.
They put him in, they can put him out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Majority rules.
That's very true. All right, so let's look at what's that? It's probably me. I can turn my voice around a little.
See, that's the same.
Here's another story. Homeless families seeking shelter from virus evicted before holiday. California Highway Patrol officers forcefully removed people who had reclaimed vacant publicly owned homes in El Cerno late Wednesday, the night before Thanksgiving, amid a surge in COVID-19 cases. Videos of the evictions posted on Twitter show dozens of officers crowding the streets near Sheffield Avenue and Poplar Boulevard around 7 p.m. The officers were met by a wave of protesters who shouted, "Shame on you," as authorities moved from door to door, removing those who had moved into the homes. At least one CHP team rammed open the door to one of the homes, video shows. The eviction came just hours after 20 families moved into the homes owned by Caltrans, arguing that government officials have failed to provide a shelter that's necessary for them to remain healthy during the COVID-19 pandemic. It was not clear how many people were evicted from the houses. The CHP did not immediately respond to the request for comment. Caltrans owns dozens of homes in the area that were bought years ago as part of a now failed plan to extend the 710 freeway. In March, a group of homeless and housing insecure Angelinos occupied a different group of houses, citing the coronavirus. Claudia Lara, a member of Reclaim and Rebuild Our Community, said the families who moved in Wednesday included children as young as 3 months and seniors over 70 who had been living in cars and encampments. Laura said she watched last night as officers descended on the homes after the group wrapped up a news conference pleading for Governor Newsom's support. To do this during the holidays, it is inhumane. It's really irresponsible, she said. Housing is a human right, and all families deserve to have safe shelter, especially during the global pandemic. During the global pandemic. Housing activists sent a letter to Newsom on Wednesday notifying him that people were moving into the houses and asking for support, while those living in the homes used them to shelter in place during the pandemic. We, people of color, are certainly facing the darkest winter, not only because of COVID-19 is again spiking, but because for us, the economic crisis that worsened and the tsunami of evictions is dwarfing the already minuscule number of available affordable housing statewide, the letter said. They're kicking people out. They moved in and they said, nope, you didn't pay anything. It's our property.
Get out.
Get the CHP and get out. Huh. Let's see what else we got. I have another page. Where was it going? There you go. So let's look at animal life, today in history, and news of the weird. Okay. 7 after 11.
Sure, what time it was.
7 after 11. Let me see. I got 9 after 11. See, I got 9 at 11:09.
Okay.
So let's look at some animal life. What animal has been killing goats in the Los Gatos area? Goats. There's some animal killing goats.
We said something like wolves or something.
Something. Let's find
Yeah,
out.
it was wolves, I believe.
Let's find out. Dear Joanne, three neighbors nearby here in the Lexington Hills have had their goat herds slaughtered at night in the last month by mountain lions. That amounts to 12 goats, none of which were eaten. We theorize there are animals forced out of this regular hunting grounds by the recent fires. I'm concerned because I keep 7 horses of which 2 are ponies. We are putting the ponies in the barn at night, placing wire mesh over several Dutch door openings. Is there any kind of deterrent that might dissuade a lion from looking for openings, like that space between the roof overhangs? We hope the large horses could handle the situation, but the short guys might be overwhelmed. I'm so worried. Any suggestions? So the mountain lions have been killing the goats, but have not been eating them. They've just been killing them.
Just out of spite.
They're probably young ones who are working on killing stuff.
Yeah.
Probably young mountain lions who are honing in their hunting skills. Kill it. They're like, well, that was too damn easy.
Yeah.
And then here's the columnist response. Dear Sue, has anyone actually seen a mountain lion kill one of the goats? Because I'm not all convinced the cougars are to blame. Mountain lions don't hunt in packs, and neither do they kill for fun. When a mountain lion kills, it drags the carcass away to eat. It might cover it and to eat, yes.
That's right.
It might cover it and return to continue eating later. The most common predator of goats is the coyote, but it also kills for food and will take 1 goat every few days. It sounds more like there is a dog or a pack of dogs involved that are killing for sport, which dogs do that.
Yeah.
The larger horses can take care of themselves, but the ponies could use a bit more protection. You could install the motion activated lights and alarms, which if anything else would alert you to an intruder. You also could install a predator light, a device that mimics the red glowing eyes of another predator. Otherwise, make sure the barn is secured around the intruders. Ooh, man. That's pretty crazy, huh?
Sure is.
They think it's mountain lions, but the guy was like, no, because mountain lions usually kill for food, not for sport. Or a pack of dogs, they do kill for fun.
That's true.
They'll kill something, they'll just throw it around for everybody to see, like, look what I got, look what I got. Like when you have a dog or a cat and they bring presents for you, like a cat will bring you mice and birds. Put it by the bowl, like, here you go. Here you go, it's delicious. Dogs will bring you stuff too. They'll kill a squirrel and bring it to you.
Yeah.
Like, oh, here's a squirrel. Look what I got. Look what I got. Ah. They don't eat it.
Just kill it.
They would eat it if they needed to. If they needed to eat, if they were hungry, they would eat. They would kill it and they would eat it. But
I was like,
yeah. All right. So let's look at today in history. So it'd be Monday, November 30th, 1924. Actually, a little bit earlier. Just from the Friday. Yeah. So Monday, November 30th. I'm getting my dates mixed up. 1924. Mercy's first Thanksgiving Day parade, billed as a Christmas parade, took place in New York. So their first, in 1924, the first Thanksgiving Day parade happened. Only it happened after Thanksgiving. They dubbed it a Christmas parade, but it had turned into a Thanksgiving parade. This day in 1970, in the Philippines, Pope Paul VI was wounded in Manila by a knife-wielding Bolivian painter arrested as a priest.
oh my God.
So it was crazy Bolivian painter who disguised himself as a priest to get close enough to the Pope to stab him.
Isn't that something?
Whew. Well, how do you think World War I started?
Oh Lord.
By an assassin's bullet,
That's right.
killing one of the world leaders. And next thing you know, they went crazy and fought after each other. And people say he was a patsy. Like Sirhan Sirhan.
Yeah.
Remember who that was? Who did he shoot and kill? Robert F. Kennedy in the LA ballroom, in the LA Convention Center ballroom, the old convention center. Right? And some people say he was a patsy because he, from the bullet wounds from Robert Kennedy and the video of it, it doesn't make sense.
No.
Because he wasn't close enough to shoot him where he did. And when you listen to when you play the tape of it and you hear the sound, there's 10 shots that are fired. And then later on with the forensics evidence, there's 10 bullet holes. But they said there was only 4 shots.
Crazy.
Makes no sense.
No.
The official report says there's 4 shots and Sirhan killed him. But when they go back and actually do the forensic stuff, no, there's 10 shots, there were 10 holes.
More than that.
And they think that he was a Manchurian candidate. So basically what they did is they pumped him full of LSD for months on end and did shock therapy so that they could say a key word and he would do a task. And when the task was over, he wouldn't remember a thing. That's why when they arrested Sirhan, they were asking questions. He didn't remember doing any of it. To this day, he does not remember doing it. Yep, does not remember. So they think he was a patsy by the CIA to kill RFK because he wanted to get rid of a lot of stuff in the government. He wanted to tamp down on the CIA, and they were like, yeah, no, we like our money. Because the CIA at the time was doing secret experiments with LSD on prisoners and military people who volunteered, mostly with prisoners. But they would give them LSD. And all the prisoners knew what was going on. They knew that if they participated, they could get high.
I sure would.
So it was like, why not? So they would literally give them a little bit of LSD every day for months. So that every day was like was seeing crazy stuff. So then once they get off it, you don't know what real is or not. Once you wake up out of that LSD haze after a couple months, you don't know what's real and what's not.
Wow.
Make you crazy.
Yeah, I guess it does.
Man.
Wow.
So let's look at our last thing here. News of the weird. So again, news of the weird. This one's called Finders Keepers. Douglas Allen Hatley, 71, of Lakeland, Florida, was arrested November 16th after the Florida Highway Patrol said he found a metal light pole by the side of the road in Tampa and tried to sell it to Eagle Metals Recycling. The Tampa Bay Times reported the recycling center turned him away because he didn't have documentation for the pole, and the officers responding two reports of a 1997 Camry with a pole twice its length strapped to the top, pulled him over soon after. Hatley told troopers, a highway maintenance worker gave it to me. He was charged with third-degree grand theft.
Wow.
Basically, he knocked over a pole and stole it, and then tried to sell it as scrap metal. And the people at the scrap metal place was like, "No, we can't take this because it could be stolen. We don't have any documentation." They probably would have gave him a couple $100 for that.
Yeah.
Probably weighed, I don't know, 8,000 pounds. Matt, how did he get it on his? How did he even get it in his car? He's 71. That's what I want to know.
Oh,
It was twice the length of his car, and it had to weigh a couple $100 pounds. How the hell did he get it in the car?
He must have strapped it on top.
But how did he pick it up and get it up there? It was on a Camry.
Too much.
Man, that's absolutely crazy. Let's see anybody's birthday you would know. Bill Nye, the science guy. He's 65 today. How about that? That's all I know there. Anybody play lottery? I wish I'd win the lottery, but I never play, so I can't win. It's kind of hard to win if you don't play, huh?
Right.
I won 200 and some dollars. I said, well, I'm gonna just scratch it off, and sure enough,
You won $200 on Scratcher?
yeah.
On my birthday, I got a Scratcher. Somebody gave me a Scratcher, and I didn't scratch it for like a month. I just kept it in my room. One day I took it with me. I was like, oh, let me just take it with me. And it was a day where I forgot my phone and my wallet,
Whoa.
and I need to get gas. I forgot my phone and my wallet, and I was like, damn it, I don't have any money for gas. And then I saw the scratcher, and I scratched it off, and it was $150.
Whoa.
And I was like, got plenty of gas money. I got plenty of gas money. It was a whole bunch of luck because I had forgot my wallet.
Wow.
And usually if I have my phone with me, I can pay off my phone. But I forgot that, so I couldn't even do that.
Wow.
So I just happened to take the scratcher with me, and I won 150, and I was like, well, I guess I got plenty of money, huh? Got plenty of money to fill up my whole tank. You know? All right, thanks again for joining me for current events. My name is Diallo, and I will see you next time. See my face? There you go.
We enjoy.
All right. Almost lunchtime. About 30 minutes.